I probably would have said, yeah.
I said, no. I said, that ain't good enough. I said, this should never happen in America. Never.
See, that's the point too. It shouldn't happen in America. And so what do you do? What do you do? I mean, there was really no option at that time.
Well, see, I said, this should never happen in America. I want $13 million, and that ain't enough. I said, I want D. Anderson to get on the public news, not on the paper, not on the, not in some back alley. I said, I want him right on the news.
Channel 5 News.
Channel 5 News, and I want him to tell what he did to us and how it all went down. See, they told the news that Mike jumped in his little SL-55 Mercedes. They ran over an officer.
It was in a newspaper article.
Yeah.
This guy named Kennedy wrote the article, said, I got in my SL-55 AMG 2001 Mercedes and ran over some cops and then, left the area. I was in jail at that time. 2003. Anyway, I was in handcuffs and in jail when they said I ran over them.
That was a different
total fake. Talk about fake news.
Actually, that was
fake news.
Actually, that wasn't that time. That was something else they did to us. Without a warrant.
Well, everything runs in together, especially when you're
trying to be as honest as
the point being, what you guys were trying to accomplish was not just restitution for the damage that they'd caused you, but also how do we make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Yeah.
Because
our pastor had told us, when you're dealing with so many different individuals in like these convenience stores we were dealing with, we had contracts with them, with our ATMs and pay telephones and the air and water machines and the crane machines and all the stuff we'd put in their businesses. But they were always trying to get out of it because people would come in after we built it up. There would be other companies or they would themselves would say, why are we using them? We could be doing this ourselves, and not paying them anything. But we had contracts. So we'd take them to, they'd throw them in the dumpsters and they'd do all kinds of things. So we'd sue a lot of people. And we had a problem with that. Because it says in the end times that people will be suing everybody, everybody in the Bible, But our pastor said, look, you guys, he said, you guys are like Elijah and Elijah. He says, you guys are strong Christian men. He said, so you need to do this stuff for people who can't. He says, you need to stand up for people who can't stand up, that are just victims. And so that's what was going through my mind, I guess, when I said, no, I want all that, publicly known, and this should never happen again. So, and when we told Ward White that, he was like, oh my. He says, we don't have any money like that. He says, well, you guys go talk, we'll go talk, and we'll get back together real quick. So we'll have another meeting real quick. So thank you for coming. I hope everything works out, blah, 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 So we leave. And so I keep calling my attorney. You heard anything? No, haven't heard anything. Are we going to have another meeting? I haven't heard anything. No, haven't heard anything. I mean, he answers my calls like boom, 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 boom. We'd give him a lot of money and got a lot at stake here. So I'm sitting there. I don't know how long it was. 2 weeks again, maybe? I don't know. Week, 2 weeks. I don't know. I really can't tell you. So I'm sitting in our movie theater room watching the news, the local news. And I'm eating dinner. We're going to have a court hearing. We got a king coming. And I hear on the news, Don Driver, attorney at law, Tarrant County, Texas, has just agreed to not practice the law.
Disbarred.
Well, he wasn't disbarred. He just agreed to. It said that he was. I might have it wrong, but what I heard was he was agreed to not practice law in the state of Texas ever again.
So you found out from the news that your attorney who'd been with you on this journey is
Yes.
no longer practicing
We're
law.
doing the federal case. We had threes.
So they got to him.
So I hear this, and I'm like, did I hear that right? What? So, doot, 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 doot. Ring, 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 ring. This is Don Driver, doing blah, 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 blah. Doot, 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 doot. No answer, no answer, no answer. So we jump in our little car and we run down to his office. And there's a U-Haul sitting out in front of his office, and people are loading stuff in it. And we're like, walk in there, and he's sitting behind the desk. And I went, Don, what the heck? He goes, Steve, they got me. I said, what's that mean? He says, well, it wasn't anything that I did.
Yeah, right.
It was my employees. There was cash that people won lawsuits in escrow, and they took that money. But I'm getting blamed for it because this is my office.
How could they take the money?
This is how I remember it went down. I don't know. Might have a few things wrong. I don't know. A lot going through your mind at that point. And I said, well, and I'm standing there, and he's sitting down. I said, well, Don, I said,
Where does that leave
where did that
us?
leave us? And he jumps up, and he's taller than me, big Texan guy. And he stands over me, and he goes, Steve, you gave me power of attorney, and I dropped your federal case.
We won. We had won it at that time.
And I went, I don't even remember what I can't recall what happened after that.
I would have flipped out. I can't even imagine.
You go
being-
in shock.
I said,
You go in shock. You know,
I don't have money to do all this again. I'm thinking starting a federal case over again. Blah. I mean, I think probably if I was smarter, I probably would have known what to do. But at that point, I'm like, we're done. We had a friend, Joseph Libby, and his dad was, under Reagan, was the head of the Navy, Libby. Guys, and he's a little short guy. He says, guys,
smart.
we're at his house.
Smart as hell. This
And
guy
he's
is
smart,
just
in a smart aleck, and he'd fight you in a minute. I'm telling you. And so we're at his house. We went to his house down in Houston, and he goes, guys, he says, go do something else.